Happy first day of spring. We can get a cake for any reason. It doesn't have to be a birthday around here.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. We can. I don't need an occasion to have cake in the greenhouse. That's just some of the best. I'm gonna get the camera set up here and celebrating.
First day of spring.
Yay! So, if you're watching, let us know. Say hello down below. Tell us where you're watching from. And so it's first day of spring.
Yep.
We're gonna have a little cake with the employees, and we want to talk about is one of these questions that we get a lot, right? If I had $1 for every time that somebody asked us, when can I plant?
We should really have been meteorologists.
Yeah. Newsflash, we're not meteorologists. So everybody asks, when can I plant outdoors? And I say you go to the old timers and you go by what they go, because they've got decades of experience. And, for our area, and we're up in northern Wisconsin, and we get stung every year, and people jump the gun and try planting, and we've gotten stung too.
Wasn't last year really bad?
No, 2 years ago. Remember, 2 years ago. So a lot of the locals, a lot of the people will say, not until June 1st. That's for our area. So you're going to be different if you're Tennessee or wherever. It's going to be different for you, or you might be in an area where I can plant all year long because it's sunny and 70 or 80 degrees. That not so for us up here, but it all depends where you're at, and safely. We just don't plant until after June 1st. And like we said, 2 years ago I think it was, we planted our whole yard, and we planted a lot of flowers, and we got stung. And it was like middle of June. We had
it was just crazy.
It was cold, not like a frost, but it was like 18 degrees. Woke up in 18 or 20 degrees, and everything was dead. So we had to replant. So we've gotten stung too. So yeah, everybody wants to jump the gun, especially this spring. We're having people like, "Are you open yet? Are you open?" No, we're not open. Nothing changes for us. We will be open at the end of
April.
Yeah, end of April. Normally it was always May 1st, and we've had snow, and then May 1st, and I'm like, I'm not opening the greenhouse.
But people get excited.
They do. And
they want to plant stuff and keep it in their house. And
yeah. And there's a few, we had one guy, his name was Jay. And he was,
Hi, Jay.
he was the poster child for us, because he's like, you know what? I'm planting my garden. And he'd come in and he'd buy all his vegetables and he'd plant. And that year, I think he got stung 5 times.
And so we warned him every time.
Like, Jay, way too early. No, it's good this time. We're going to get, Jay, just wait. They're going to grow faster in my greenhouses than they are outside right now. So yeah, he was the poster child. So, do you raise anything? Do you start any seeds at home? Do you start tomatoes or peppers, or I've been showing you. We got our big starter plants going, and that's what these are. These are Better Boy. So same tomato. It's just I started this one really early. This is my show off tomato plant, and this is the one that I kept showing you. I kept shoving it down as that tomato stretched and got bigger, and look how big this is already. So this will get transplanted now into a pretty big container, and then we set it in our greenhouse, and it's just a show-off tomato for us. It gets huge. So last couple of years, they've been 10, 12 feet. That one year we had a 14-foot cherry tomato plant. It went outside the greenhouse. These ceilings are 12 feet. It got out and it kept going another 2 feet. So that was a 14-foot tomato plant. So
we had a lot of cherry tomatoes.
Buckets of cherry tomatoes. That's why this year I went to a Better Boy tomato, so that you can if you want, or we'll do whatever, make something with it.
But do you plant in your house?
Yeah, and when do you start? So it's a little harder to start inside. You can, but it's a lot different than like in a greenhouse. There's just a lot of sunlight in here. Even today it's cloudy and overcast, but we get a lot of sunlight, and it's hard inside because these tomatoes, they want to stretch, and so they want to go to the sunlight. And even these you can see if you give a sideways shot, they were all pointing this way. They were in our propagation chamber, and it's a little bit darker in there, but they had the heated mat, and they were stretching and looking for the sun. So they're all curled now. It's been sitting on the bench for one day in the greenhouse, so they're straightening up.
So do you recommend, like, as far as space? Because I know that even when he was growing our tomatoes, and there was like 3-4 of them, we have a lot of windows in the house, but they're mostly in the east side of the house, so it doesn't get as much sun all the time. So they were sitting in our kitchen patio area, and I was walking across them, and the dog would get excited and knock
Whack,
them.
whack, whack. Yeah.
Yep. And so, do they need a heated mat? What do people need if they want to start seeding right now?
Yeah, a heated mat is, I mean, I absolutely suggest a heated mat because it takes, it might take a week or so or more to get those tomato seeds to germinate, or pepper seeds. Peppers take a long time to germinate. A heating mat just increases that germination rate and fast. These germinated in 2 days for me, because they're sitting in our propagation chamber with the heated mat. So they're sitting, they have 85 degrees day and night, and they're moist, and boom, they just come up in a couple days. So I do suggest using a heating mat, and you might need a grow light too, so that can really help, and it can kind of help straighten it out. If they're searching for that sunlight,
if they start stretching.
Yeah.
Now, some of the people watching might not have seen the reel of you pushing the tomatoes down,
Mm-hmm.
so that's quite a ways back. So can you explain that just a little bit?
So the way to, if your tomatoes are stretching, this is just for tomatoes. If you're starting other seeds, if you're starting peppers or something, this does not work with, most other plants. But tomatoes are really easy if they start stretching, they go up. And when they're doing this...
Let me show. Here, you can grab that, and I'll show it, see if we can get the little hairs.
Yeah, it's...
Can you see all the little tiny hairs that are along there? Let's see if it goes against my blue shirt. You can see little tiny hairs along the tomatoes.
It's like our teenage son's. It looks like his chin. But anyway, those are roots. And so tomatoes have roots all along the stem. So when we have a tomato plant that is stretching, and these are in little cells, I have nowhere to go with this. But if this were in a pot, if I wanted to transplant this and it starts stretching, I just take my fingers, go around it, and I just push it down, and I will go up to its neck. So I go right up to these leaves right here, and I just keep pushing it down into that soil, and it'll just keep developing roots all along that stem. So that's a good way to combat that. If you got tomato seeds that are stretching, little seedlings, go ahead and shove them down in the ground. That's exactly what I did this, and I showed it to you several times, and it just makes a much bigger, stronger, healthier plant.
See how
it's getting sturdy, because this is actually it goes all the way down here, because I kept shoving it down, and then I transplanted this, and I buried this all the way down. And that's what I'll do again, is when I go to transplant this into a bigger pot, I'm going to go through it. I'm going to take off all these leaves, probably this one here too, and I'm going to plant it at least that deep. So it's a lot of people that just throws them off that you can plant a tomato that deep, but you can.
But it's just tomatoes.
Just tomatoes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't work with other plants.
But now is about the time when you start, if you're going to start indoors, start seeding stuff for yourself. Now's about the time.
Well, it all depends when you can, if you're like us, you're going to be hanging on to these for a while. For us, June 1st is a while off.
Yeah.
So can you hang on to this for a couple months? That's what you really have to determine.
Because when should they start planting? I know we can't determine the weather, and every year is a little bit different, but what are signs for not only Wisconsin, but for across the country?
When at least you can look at that 2-week weather, and everything is staying, I would say above 40 degrees for sure.
At nighttime.
At nighttime, yeah, that you don't want to chance it. And there's crops, especially like vegetables, let's say cucumbers. Cucumbers, they do not tolerate the cold. So it doesn't have to be freezing to kill off a cucumber. You could have a 38 or 40 degree night, and boom, the cucumber is dead, because they'll give up the ghost very easily. So
but you want the ground to be obviously thawed and starting to warm up.
And it's not going to do you any good to put this plant into cold ground. If that ground temperature is 40 degrees, this plant's just not going to do anything. It's not going to grow. So you're not gaining anything by throwing it in the ground earlier if that ground is so cold, because it's just going to kind of shiver. So it doesn't do any good to get your plants into the ground, to try to jump the gun. You're not going to gain anything. It's going to do much better growing inside and at least having, a controlled setting of, my house is 68 or 70 degrees at night, or, in a greenhouse where it's just, let us hang on to the plants for a while. And so that you can kind of get past that, if you're unsure, look at the weather, what it's going to be for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. If it starts dipping down, don't plant.
We have a lot of customers that will start a few seeds. And when I say a few, like just a few, and just because they want to feel spring and they want to see it starting to grow, but they really don't want their full garden in their house or trying to maintain that. So they'll grow a few and then they'll come to the greenhouse and be like, oh, I need this, this, and this because, I this is what I started, and they get all excited. It's fun. You should try it.
You should learn, to, the way you learn is by doing it. And, if you kill a tomato plant, big whoop, that's how we learn, at least.
Next year you change what you're doing.
I've killed more plants than any of you. So, and that's how I learn. I've wiped out crops of things and said, you know what? That did not work. Don't do that again. And, it's
a hard lesson, but you learn quickly.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to try things. And, if you go to our beatyourneighbor.com, we have a lot more than just our fertilizer there. So we have heating mats, we have grow lights, we have there's germinating mix, there's all stuff that you can find. And those are affiliate links. So what that means is it's going to take you to Amazon because it's fulfilled by Amazon. We don't, we ship the fertilizer ourselves.
And the shirts.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's stuff that we have in stock on hand. But, those other products, those are affiliate links, and we do get a small commission that's absolutely no cost to you. That's
price doesn't change.
Yep. That's just Amazon is friendly to small businesses, and they give them a percentage. So that's an easy way if you're looking for soil or germinating mix or heating mats, or there's almost, 80, 90 or 100 products on there. There's a lot there. So, be sure to go and visit our beatyourneighbor.com and take a look at all those products. So.
Okay. Should I tell them my funny of the morning? Because I feel like I'm Quasimodo right now. So we were supposed to
you're more like a pirate.
So we were supposed to come out and do the live much earlier than this. But as he was setting up and getting ready, I come running out and my eyes swollen and it's tearing everywhere. And I'm like, we can't do it. Stop. And we ran out of the mailers for the single jars. And so I thought, oh, no problem. I'll just go get another 2 boxes and put them on the shelf and open it up. And I didn't cut the extra edge off. So as I'm bending down to put that other box down below, the corner went right in my eye of the box on top, and it hurt so bad. He's like, what is going on? So you might not be able to see it, but I surely feel it right now. It's like...
Yeah, it looks good now, but she looked like she was going to have a patch over her eye.
I looked like I was
red and crying. Yeah.
Our employee came in and said, do you have a cold? I'm like, no, I poked my eye so bad, like everything, my eye's running, my nose running, everything's running.
Yeah, so. You're a treat. We do stupid stuff all the time.
Yeah. But happy spring.
Yay, I'm going to get cake. All right.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.